Welcome back, everybody. We got another episode of the Cosmos Show. Obviously, with me and my brother, we got a special guest today. Coach Larry Ryan's in the building. I'm gonna have you introduce yourself, your little background, and all the floor is yours.
All right. Well, as Carson said, I am Coach Larry Ryans, also known as the GOS Godfather of Speed. Um, I am a former professional football player, high-level track guy. Went to Clemson University, graduated in '93. Um, been training athletes since 2000. Used to train Marshall. So I think Carson, you came out a couple times and
I
trained with
came
me.
out a couple of times.
Yeah. So that's currently what I do now. Formerly sprint and hurdle coach at IMG Academy. Now I have my own business training athletes, and that's what I do. That's what I do. And
But yeah,
crack jokes
Marshall.
on Marshall Cosmos.
Yeah, Marshall's got me cracking up because he wanted to die when he said 1992. He's gonna give you some shit for that. I know that.
I'm getting old, man. I am getting old.
No,
Hey,
you're
you
looking
still,
good though,
yeah,
Coach. Looking good.
you look great for your age, dude. That's the big compliment right there
I
too,
appreciate that. I appreciate that. I work at it.
for sure. Look, I know Marshall. You got some stories about Marshall and how you guys two first met. So, we could also get into that too. But I want to first get into a little bit like your high school, like starting because you were a track athlete and football athlete. You were a
Right.
receiver. You did some track. You did some special teams too in high school, correct?
I
Like you
did
were
everything. I was
everything.
played both sides of the ball. Was cornerback, and also played wide receiver. I also played running back. Did a little bit of everything. And South Carolina, Greenwood High School was my high school.
Okay, I thought you were from here. I didn't know actually where you're from, so that's a new fact to me too.
Yeah.
That's interesting for sure. And then for track, what were your events in track that you did as
So in
well?
track, I was a hurdler. Did the short, the 110s, and I also did the long, the 400-meter hurdles. Actually, it was still the 300-meter hurdles at that time in high school. Also ran the relays.
So what would you say is like your like your best event in track? You would say your specialty. Like would you say it's 100
Uh,
meters hurdles. What would you say is like your best event? Like when it comes to like time wise, you would
Well,
say.
it would definitely be the hurdles. I was the best hurdler in the country coming out my senior year. I ran
Oh shit.
13:47 fully automatic. I ran 12:9 hand. I was 46.5 in the 400.
Damn.
I ran 36, I think 36.8 in the 300 hurdles. I ran 52.6 in the 400 hurdles in high school. So yeah, the hurdles for sure.
That's blazing. You should ask Marshall about how he did in the hurdles in high school.
We already know. We already know. I bet that's the one thing that Marshall cannot do. He can't hurdle. He can do
Hurdles.
everything else, but no hurdling.
I was there. I was there for one of those events. I was just like,
I was
damn, he's
jumping. I
last
was jumping
place.
so high off those, so high off over those hurdles,
I
man.
just like it because he can't lie. We got your brother here, man. You cannot lie.
No, he was doing like football hurdles instead of track hurdles. That's what he was
I
doing.
believe it. He was big enough. He was running right through him.
I walked the last like 10 meters of that race.
Yeah, and I think my was
I
Grandpa
got
there
I
for
got
that
like
race.
I got a hey. I still got a minute one. It's not too bad.
Oh, that's
That ain't
there.
bad.
Yeah,
That is not bad. 400
no,
hurdles
no, I would do terrible in hurdles. I
No, that was
was
400. That was just 400 meters.
for the 400 meters. Yeah. Okay, that's bad.
No, I
wait.
did the 300-meter hurdles. But my coach was like, "Hey, you want to? I wasn't training for really much at all. It was freshman year. He's like, "Hey, you want to do the 300-meter hurdles?" I'm like, "Yeah, it sounds easy. Sounds good. I'll try it." Terrible, because I didn't have after like going to with practicing with you, I didn't understand the steps you have to take between each
Right.
hurdle. I didn't understand takeoff. I remember when we first started, I was doing 41 yard. Remember how far I had my hand behind, foot behind? You're like, what the hell
Yeah.
is this guy doing?
Wait, shit.
So yeah,
What?
well we'll get into that.
You thrived in the discus throwing though for sure. Didn't you go to like the states for that at USF, Marshall? I don't know about states, but you competed at USF against one of like the top athletes in the country, one the number one player in the country at Armwood at that time. I remember this.
I'll tell you what, my best throw was about to come out, and then I drilled that fucking pole on the right
That
side.
was like I thought somebody got
Everyone
shot.
was ducking.
I bet. I bet. I bet.
I was even ducking. I was like, holy shit, I didn't know I could do that. That
I
was
was like,
funny.
oh shit. I was just like,
But that
damn,
was
like
gonna be a hell of a throw. But then my next throw sucked, so it's whatever. Hey, I didn't take track serious in high school, so
No, I was a thrower. I
at
did
all.
discus and shot put, but I was
Okay. Well, Marshall would probably, honestly, Marshall, you probably could have been pretty good at track, man, because your running mechanics, nasty.
yeah. If Marshall, I think if Marshall would have found you freshman year, I think it would have been way different story going into his junior senior year
Well,
for
if I
100%.
focused on track, I probably would have not. I probably would have weighed like more like 180, 175
Yeah, you've been
instead
lighter
of.
for
Yeah,
sure.
I
yeah,
was weighing
yeah.
I was weighing 195 senior year.
Listen, man, you were an athlete. I got Carson. I got to give your brother credit. Now he was a bad
100%.
athlete. He could do it all. Ask Marshall to throw it. He throw it 70 yards. Ask him to kick it. He punt it 60. He can kick field goals. Catch the football. Could play running back. Marshall definitely was an athlete. I got to give him credit.
All right,
One
all
of
right.
the,
Yeah,
one of the most
I,
athletic guys I ever trained, to be honest. And I trained a lot of people. Marshall, you know that. Marshall, one of the most athletic. I got to give him his credit.
no, I agree.
Well,
I think here's what I'll say. I always say he was always the better athlete than I was, but I think I was more of a better football player. That's just my take. But
Now I never seen film, or if I did, I just don't remember it, Carson. But I do remember you were a good athlete too. Those couple times you came out, you didn't have the foot speed that Marshall had, but
yeah,
you were an
well, I
athlete
was
though.
heavier. But my senior year, I was like 240, 245. My senior year playing D line.
I got you.
Well, I was like all county, made the All Star game too, and then I had some offers, but I was like, it's just I don't want to take him. I just decided just to do other stuff. But I think he was a better athlete for sure when it comes to like jumping speed. Like I didn't have the speed that he had, obviously, but I was also bigger. But at the end of the day, like I said, I agree with you. He's definitely the better athlete, 100%. I'll give him that
Got you. Got you.
for
Got
sure.
you.
But
anyways,
I think football player wise, it was close. I really do. I really do.
well,
All
well
right, Marshall.
We'll have to show you the tape. I think it's fair game at that point.
All right. All right.
So
either way, it's all good. Okay. Um, so I have your career history up, Coach. So you started at the Lions. Is that true? Is that accurate?
That is my first 2 years. I played in Detroit. Correct.
Okay. What out of all the places, including overseas, where was your favorite place you played at, and why?
I think probably honestly number one was when I played those 2 years over in Germany. I mean, that was just the most fun I had just playing football because it really wasn't about the money. We didn't get paid a lot of money in the NFL Europe, but it was just a lot of fun. And then also too, I love people and just being around people. So I was learning a different culture. It was just cool just being in Germany. So probably Germany was the most fun. If we talk about the NFL, probably Detroit. You know what I mean? Because again, I had coming through college. I went into college as a defensive back, and then our head coach got fired. Danny Ford was our head coach. He got fired after my freshman year, where I had played as a true freshman, had played some DB, had done well, and I was looking forward to continue being a DB. But then they brought in Ken Hatfield, and a lot of people had been recruiting me as an athlete. And
gotcha.
I didn't mind playing both sides, but if I had to pick, I wanted to play defense. Well, Hatfield came in and wanted me to go to offense because they wanted to change the offense and throw the ball more things of that nature. So they wanted to move me to offense, and that's how I got to wide receiver. Because when you're in college back in those days, it's not like now where you can just up and say, "Hey, I'm gonna leave," right?
Hmm.
If I say I'm not gonna switch over, I'm gonna get stuck on the depth chart and never play if that's what they want to do. And that was kind of how it went down. It was like, listen, we need you on offense. Where if you don't switch over, I don't know. So it was one of those things. So I was like, all right, I'll switch. So I switched over, and that's how I ended up at wide receiver. But yeah, Detroit in the NFL would have been the most fun, and NFL Europe. Ryan Fire was the name of the team I played for back then.
I see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the thing with that, right? You wanted to play defense, but they wanted to play offense. But you just don't really see a lot of two-way players in the NFL at all. I mean, maybe Travis Hunter is like the one and only guy who plays two ways, but it's rare air now. Like, I mean, Dion was the one dude in that time that was playing offense a little bit. He was a punt returner as well, but playing both sides of the ball is like unheard of now because
Yeah, it's
it's
just so much.
crazy.
It's so much going on. So much you have to learn. It's hard to
100%.
do. Back in those days when I was playing, I think I still could have pulled off playing both ways.
Yeah.
But It is what it is. You know what I mean? I enjoy my time. I enjoy my years playing. You know, if I could do it again, I would.
Now,
Now,
what would you
go ahead, Harrison.
go ahead, Marshall?
Okay. So looking back at your career, are you do you you said no regrets, but if you could have chose or if you had a choice to go down the road of a track career or the NFL, which one would you have done, or
No, you know
if you
what?
would have
If I
changed it?
could do if I could do anything different, I wouldn't necessarily change it. I would just do more. Like when I stopped playing football, it never crossed my mind to go back and run track. You know, I qualified for Olympic trials in '92, and that was the same year I came out for the
Mhm.
draft, right? So my coach asked me, he's like, "Are you gonna go?" And I was like, "No, I'm not going." And I never understood why he looked at me like I was crazy until later on. I really realized, you know, I never really understood how good I was at track. I always ran track because I wanted to be fast for football. That was it. I just
Yeah.
ended up being good at track, but I didn't really have an understanding of how good I really was. You know, these days now, you know, being training for so many years, coaching so many kids and athletes, now I understand how really good I was. So I wish if I could do anything different when I stopped playing football, I would have went back to track because
Track.
I was still really healthy. I think I was 29 at the time, and maybe I could have did something, maybe I couldn't, but it would have been a better outlet for me because I think a lot of people go through, you know, when you stop playing professional football. Marshall, you probably went through this when you stop playing. When you stop, it's like, what is next? And so, you know, I struggled through some of that. And had I gone back to track, I think that would have gave me a little bit of time to really kind of figure out what I really wanted to do after athletics.
For sure. No, I get it. That's a lot on your plate though. At 29, it's like, do I just try to pursue maybe coaching, coaching track or going back in the track? I know did you ever consider maybe coaching football at one point in your time?
So
Like full
you
time
know,
coaching?
I love football. I have coached some high school football. I coached some football here at Manatee High School in Bradenton, and I enjoy it. I love football. You know, I train football athletes like you know Marshall was a football guy, one of the track
Yeah.
guys. So I enjoy football. But my biggest thing was at the time I was raising two kids by myself. You know,
Yeah.
and you talking middle school, then on to high school, and I just wanted to be the father that was always going to pick them up and the father that was always going to take them to school. And as a football coach, if you really want to be good, man, it's 7 days a week,
It's a
365,
yes.
24 hours a day. And I knew I wasn't going to give anybody that because I was not going to take away from how I was raising my kids. And I wanted to make sure that I was present in their lives and everything they were doing. So that's kind of why I like football. Just I couldn't give them what they wanted.
No, I fully understand that because it's definitely you gotta be there 24/7 and track. At least you can have times with your kids and stuff during track because it's more like after school, but it's only for a couple hours and there's no like really like you can watch. It's like a little bit time of like film. It's not like football where you gotta watch 80 plays a game. You can make the adjustments a lot faster in
It's a
track
lot.
instead of
It's a
football.
lot. It's definitely a lot.
So,
And then with my kids, both my kids chose track, so it made it even easier.
But yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, what'd you
I mean
do
having a daughter is
career
is a
wise?
little easier because
Yeah, what'd you do career wise when you were raising your kids? I think you told me you were at one point in construction. Was that
Yeah,
when you were raising your kids?
when I first moved here to Bradenton, I was in the process of starting up a business, a startup, and everything kind of fell through. So then at that moment, it was like sat down with the kids. Do y'all want to stay? Because one of the reasons we moved here was so they could be closer to their mother, who was in Tampa. So they were like, "Yeah, we want to stay." I was like, "All right, cool, we'll make it work." So I just did what I needed to do. I went out. I did some construction. I did a lot of training because I when I retired in 2000. I basically started training athletes right then. I went right into training athletes, and I also worked in corporate America for a while. But when we moved here from Miami, I resigned from the corporate America job and moved up here and was like, I like training. That's what I love doing. So I was like, either I'm gonna make it or break it training. So I trained kids and worked construction and did what I had to do so we could, live the way we wanted to live, and that was it.
No, I mean you gotta do for your kids, man. That's in the day, it's all about them. I know that, and they've been successful. Wait, your daughter went to was it what school did she go to again? Was it FAU? I might be wrong,
Yeah,
but
FIU. So
FIU. Okay,
originally she went to FIU, and then the coach got fired, so they brought in a new coach. Her and the new coach did not get along, so she wanted to transfer, And I was like, okay, cool, because it was she had a lot of really good offers on the table, but she wanted to go to FIU because it's back in Miami. She considered Miami home. I was like, all right, cool.
In
So when she
state.
wanted to transfer, I was like, I really wanted her to go to Wisconsin. The sprint hurdle coach there is a real good friend of mine, Coach Jackson. He knows what he's doing, but she really didn't want to go there. She's like, it's cold. I don't want to go there. I was like, okay, well, where you want to go? She wanted to go to USF. She wanted to be in Tampa. I was like, okay, program's not that good, so she transferred to USF. She was there for a year. Socially, I think she loved the school,
Yeah.
but track wise, she hated it. And she was almost at the point where she was gonna quit. And I was like, no, we're not gonna put you in a situation where you're gonna quit. I was like, we're gonna move you. And then when she moved again, I said, I'm picking the school. So I sent her to North Carolina A&T because my ex teammate Dwayne Ross, who's now the
Mm.
head coach at Tennessee, he was at North Carolina A&T. So I sent her there, and she had a pretty good career. You know what I mean? And she ended up leaving. She graduated summa cum laude. She ran professionally for 1 year, and now she is in Miami. She just graduated nursing school 2 weeks
Heck yeah.
ago,
Heck
and
yeah.
she's married. Been married for a couple years now. Got a good husband, and she's doing good. And my son is at USF in graduate school in the architecture program. He's doing well. So
It's
shoot,
awesome.
yeah.
Shit, we're gonna go back to your college days here in a second. So nowadays college football is obviously different when it comes to the landscape with the whole transferring and everything else. But the big part of it, NIL. I want to know what do you think your value would have been in today's game if you were playing, and if you would have got offered another, if you got offered a lot of money to go to a different school, would you have done it? It's kind of what the game. That's the name of the game now.
Man,
NIL.
like, I would have got paid. I would have got paid. Listen, I was probably the best track athlete in the country. I definitely was the best hurdler, and I was definitely one of the best track athletes in the country coming out as a senior. My football resume was top notch. I was one of the best recruits there as well. Um, and honestly, I went to Clemson freshman year, and I hated it. I hated it, man, and
Mm.
I tried to leave. I was going to transfer to University of South Carolina. My picks was my top choice was Texas. My father wouldn't let me go to Texas. My next choice was University of South Carolina. He didn't want me to go there because my cousins were there. He was like, "No, you don't need to be around all that family." And then Clemson was third. So that's how I ended up at Clemson. But I literally tried to transfer. I called. The process was in the works. I was trying to do it without my father knowing. But what got me, I went to college at 16, so I couldn't sign any paperwork.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so when it came time for the paperwork, my dad found out, man, he cussed everybody out. My mama got cussed out. The coaches at USC got cussed out. I got cussed out. And he X'd that whole deal real quick. So I tried, but I could not get out of there.
Damn.
So, so how far in your career did your dad have like a say in what you were gonna do? Like, to at what point was he just not involved as much? Do you think?
Well, I mean, I think once I left Clemson, you know what I mean. He kind of let me go and let me go do my thing. And like any other kid, I would call and ask for advice on certain things. But I appreciate him. You know what I mean. It was a time I tried to quit football, and he said no. He's like, "You're not quitting." I remember like we were in the garage, and he's like, "The coaches tell me that you quit. You don't want to play football anymore." And I was like, "No, I'm done. I don't want to play. I'm done playing football. I don't want to play." This was going into my 10th grade year, right?
Huh.
So he says, well, listen, this is what we're going to do. He gave me all the reasons why he thought I should keep playing. And he said, okay, I'm going to go in. He said he was going to go in the house for a minute and let me think about it. And then we'll talk about it some more. So he went in maybe 5, 10 minutes. I'm in the garage pacing. He's not going to change my mind. I'm quitting. I don't want to play. He's not going to make me play, right? He came back out. He said,
Man,
did you think about it? I'm like, yep. He said, what you think? I said, I don't want to play. And he looked at me and said, I'll tell you what, you're going to have your ass at practice on Monday, and that's the end of it. And walked in the house and slammed the door, locked me out. And today, I appreciate him for that. Because I think a lot of times these days, a lot of parents are scared to tell their kid no.
Yeah.
And a
100%.
lot of
Yeah.
the way that I was raised and my parents were involved and they were there, that's what made me do for my kids what I did for them, making sure I was involved, making sure everybody on that campus knew who I was. Because, if people think they can get away with something, then they're going to try to get away with it. But if they know you showing up at 3 o'clock when everybody get out of school and you will come in that campus and go into the office and ask to speak to the principal, not gonna mess with your kid. They're gonna do what they're supposed to do.
100%. No, it's different nowadays for sure. If you tell a kid no, they just storm off. They don't give a shit anymore. That's
They don't care. They
no,
don't care.
no. And they don't want to do all the training either. They think everything. They just sometimes some of these kids who are somewhat athletic rely. They just think, oh, we don't have to train. I'm just gonna go in there and just play. No, bro. Like nowadays, these
Yeah,
kids
you're
are
100% right, man. These kids out there, they don't want to be told no. They think they know everything. I mean, it's really hard. Like even with what I do with the training, I have two rules basically, right? First, I gotta like you. If I don't like you, I'm not training you. And you got to be willing to work. If you don't want to work, you don't want to come to see me anyway.
no, no.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Marsha would know that for a fact.
Yeah, but man, Marshall was off the chain. Marshall was a bad boy, man. I wish things could have been different for you, Marshall, and because this sport is so much about timing, and your timing it was never right in the situations that you got put in. But if you had different timing, man, Marshall Cosman was a bad boy. But you know what? Let me
If he was
tell you. Let
playing
me tell you how.
today's
Let me
era,
tell
he
you.
probably would have had 20 plus offers, probably for sure.
Yeah,
Especially with all the social media too nowadays, with all the publicity, all these other
yeah,
players are getting like
100%.
7-on-7 is huge. It was getting bigger in the 2010s and stuff, but now it's on TV and everything. Everyone's live streaming. It's like everything's bigger now. So I think definitely got more attention for sure. I think
It's easier to get yourself out there now than it was. So much
100%.
easier. Like we didn't have in my day, we didn't have social media. We had a couple magazines, and that's how we knew who the best players in the country were. And you would sit and wait for that magazine to come out. What was it called? Oh, we had Parade magazine for
Mm.
football, and then we had Track and Field News for track and field. You wait for those to come out every month so you can kind of see what was going on around the country.
See,
All that, all that. Go ahead.
with our era, like Marshall's era, especially, like the one thing, like Twitter was like kind of getting bigger that time, but the only thing they used for Twitter was the huddle.com. That's where you make your
Right.
highlights and stuff. And Marshall would, he would post his highlights on Twitter, but that was like the only thing that you could really put video, because Instagram and stuff was like just now coming along and stuff. So Twitter was like the only social media that was big because of like Huddle and stuff, and that's where you post all your highlights, and then that's how you get, that's how you reach out to coaches and stuff. But now it's like it's everywhere. So
That's
it's
true.
like so. But yeah, 'cause I couldn't imagine if he was in our era or in this era now with all the social media like YouTube, everything. It's wild now. It's
Listen, man, as big as Marshall was, the way he was moving, crazy.
All right, go
Well,
to the story you're gonna say,
we're
Coach.
gonna get into that. Yeah, I want to know because obviously you trained him for quite some time back in when he was playing football and stuff. But he told me that he had a little story on the first time you guys met. So I want to hear this for sure.
Yeah, so one of my really good friends had called me about Marshall. Was like, "Hey, Larry, man, I got this kid. You need to get with him. He's really talented." And he was just ranting and raving about Marshall Cosma. And so he gave me his number. I called Marshall, and I talked to him. Well, let me back up. First,
Yeah.
I went and looked at his film. And so when I'm watching, because I think at that time you were in junior college out in Cali, Marshall, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm watching the film. He's playing cornerback, big dude, like 6 foot, 6'1", about 200 pounds, moving like he 180, 170. I'm like, man. So when he's playing, he's got everything covered, arms covered, mask on. I think he black. He moving like a brother out there. I'm like, man, this muscle is bad. I'm like, okay, yeah, I definitely want to train this guy, right? So I
Ugh.
call him. We have a conversation on the phone about everything. We talk about when he's gonna come out to train and everything. And he was like, "Okay, cool, I'm coming." Nothing in the conversation made me think he wasn't black. So I'm like, I'm still thinking Marshall is black.
So Larry, before you go on, you know what my mom was originally gonna name him? His original name was gonna be Elijah.
I definitely would have thought he was black, right? Like his
Yeah.
name really
Marshall.
didn't say. It was kind of like that can go either way. Marshall can be white, Marshall can be black,
Yeah,
right?
that's what I'm
There was
saying. Yeah,
nothing there.
yeah, for
When I
sure.
Yeah.
talked to him, it was nothing in the way he talked that told me, okay, yeah, he's definitely white or he's definitely black. It was just kind of like, I think he's black, but I don't know. So anyway, he was supposed to show up to train. That day at training, I think I had maybe, I don't know what you think, Marshall, about 8, 10 people out there, maybe.
Yeah.
It was quite a
Yeah.
few. It was quite a few
Yeah.
kids out there. So I'm moving the group, and Marshall's late. And honestly, I had forgot he was supposed to be coming that day. So All of a sudden, this car drives up. We're going through the warm up drills, just getting ready to rock and roll. This car drives up, and this big ass white dude get out, and he just walk over and hop in the drills. And I'm like, who is this big ass white dude just gonna come over? He's like a grown ass man. I'm like, who this big ass white dude just gonna come over here and jump in the damn drills? I'm like, let me go down here and see what's going on, right? So I go up to him and I'm like, "What's up, man? How you doing?" He said, "Hey, I'm Marshall." And I think I said to you, I was like, "Damn, I thought you was black." So yeah, that's the first day I met Marshall. And then you never know about people, but man, Marshall ended up being like, man, Marshall stayed. You stayed at my house before, didn't you, Marshall? Didn't you stay over here before?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like Marshall ended up just he ended up being like I always think about it like this. I have people that I train, but I just have kids I care about. The
Yeah.
kids that I train turn into the kids that I care about. And my thing is I'm gonna treat anybody's kid the way I want my kid trained, or the way I want my kid treated. And Marshall stayed in my house, ate my food.
Well, he was eating
Man,
a lot back in that day.
yeah, I'm
He
hungry,
probably ate your
man.
whole
He eats you
pantry.
out of house at home, but yeah, he one of the few. I think in all my years of training, I probably had about 5 or 6 kids that actually lived with me. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
Marshall was one of them. So yeah, he definitely one of my favorites. One of my
Was he
favorites.
was he the only
Well,
white
hang on.
one?
First thing you said I was late to that first practice. I was probably 10 minutes early, but I was parked across the street. I don't know where because it's a big area. So
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
like
yeah.
I was with my dad actually, and I was trying to call
Yeah,
you. You
remember
weren't
that?
answering. I was that close to just we were that close to just leaving, and maybe I would have never came back. So that's kind of
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, yeah.
So
Listen,
we
we're how
because
it
we
happens,
drove
but
we drove all the way from Tarpon Springs. So that was like such a far drive the first
No,
time.
it's like an hour,
yeah, that's
an
like an
hour and a
hour
half.
at least if the
Yeah,
traffic's good.
yeah. And then back on when I used to stay at your place. I remember one time you were making it was like some type of chicken dish. What was it called? It was like a honey chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, oh, this is just gonna be the best chicken you ever had. Took him like 4 hours to make this shit. Although
Well,
I look in the kitchen, he has like so much chicken in this pan that it's like it's too much chicken. I was like, how are you gonna cook any of this evenly? There's no way.
yeah, keep
And then
going.
and I was like, this he's talking about this damn chicken dish being so good. And I tried it and I was like, I need a recipe.
Yeah, exactly,
That was
exactly.
one of the best chicken dishes I ever had.
That's right, man. The
I
chicken over
ever
here is
since then
world famous.
I was trying to redo it with how much honey you used honey, right, or something
Yeah,
to make it.
yeah.
Yeah, honey. And then I kept making that shit way too sweet. I was like, this sucks. No way I can make it the same.
Yeah, man. Listen, the
But
one thing I can do, I can cook.
Okay.
But yeah, those were the good old days.
we used to how long ago? So yeah, when I stayed there, we used to make like TikToks or whatever, the small and funny videos you want to make for the
Coach
um
Old School.
yeah, Coach Old School stuff. That was fun. That was fun.
Yeah, yeah. We definitely had a lot of fun, man. I really enjoyed training Marshall, man. Like my now, it's a few kids, my few people that I trained that my kids really know, and Marshall is one of them. They always ask about Marshall. How Marshall doing? They always gonna ask about KJ. They gonna ask about Bane.
I
Yeah.
remember
Um,
KJ. I remember KJ.
yeah, they always gonna ask about them, and there's a few others that they ask about, but Marshall's in there. Like, how's Marshall doing?
Who who had the fastest 40 time out there, if you
The
remember?
fastest 40 time was me until Bane beat me. I had 4.21 one day. Sean Bane, he ran 4.19.
That's like Bo Jackson speed.
Yeah, Bane could run, man. He could, and he still can. He's actually he was in CFL the past 5 years, and right now he's thinking about going over to Paris and playing in Paris. So he may be headed that direction.
You would think like that kind of talent would maybe be in the NFL, especially at that speed. Like he's a receiver, I'm assuming.
Yeah, he's a receiver. See, the thing that people don't understand about the NFL, it's way more jobs, it's way more people that want the jobs than
Yeah,
there are jobs available. And
100%,
everything comes down to timing. And
hundred
and
percent.
you can be in college. It takes 11 people for a team to be successful. If a team wants to make you the guy, they can make you the guy. If a
Hundred
team
percent.
doesn't want you to be the guy, they can make you not the guy,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
So for a guy like Bane or a guy like KJ, they are supremely gifted at what they do. But that doesn't mean you make it. It just
No.
doesn't. You know, the
No.
timing has to be right. Everything's got to fall in your favor. Like KJ, man, KJ came through or came out during the COVID. So when COVID happened, all bets were off. And again, just the timing wasn't right. He didn't
Yeah,
get the right
that's
breaks.
that's worst time. And like, during COVID, oh my god, I was like,
Yeah. So that was really a bad time. But, you
because
know,
he got picked up by the Broncos, correct? That was
yep,
his first team.
yep. He got picked up by the Broncos, went there. Then the coaching staff gets fired. The coaching staff loved him. They get fired,
Yeah,
bring in a new staff. The new
yeah,
staff always want to bring in their guys.
yeah. That's
So they
that's the
brought in
timing.
what was the guy name? KJ Hamler from Penn
Yeah,
State. They
yeah.
drafted him, and he was supposed to be able to do what KJ can do. He couldn't,
No.
but they had paid him all that money, so they
Yeah.
get rid of KJ. And then a couple years later, they got rid of Hamler because he just wasn't that guy. You
No.
know, so it's a lot. Timing is everything.
Yeah, I think timing
Timing and
and
people really being invested in you and really wanting to give you a chance to play. And it also matters how you come in. If you come in as a first round draft pick, you're gonna get chance after chance after chance because
100%.
you're supposed to be that guy, right?
Yeah, yeah,
If you come in, you're an undrafted free agent. You make one mistake, you might be gone.
yeah. I think people don't realize like after like even like maybe like some of those 6th, 7th rounders guys, they only got really one shot, kind of some majority of times. But sometimes people get picked in those 6, 7 rounds, and those guys are sometimes steals, but those guys outwork sometimes the 2nd, 3rd round guys. So it's just all about, like you said, timing and what team they get drafted to. If they fit well and they can play right away, then it happens. I've seen a bunch of players get drafted late and make a huge impact the first couple of years, but there's some
Right.
guys who get drafted the first, 2nd round, they don't. And pans out, like you said, about time and coaching staff and team they picked by. And I've seen it happen from time to time where players don't pan out well in the first 2 rounds or so. So, like you said, it's all about timing and team fit at the end of the day. So.
True, very true.
Coach, what do you think?
Also
What do you
too, I
think,
mean, you gotta
go ahead.
Oh, he froze up.
he did freeze up.
How about now?
Say it again, Marshall.
You're good.
Okay. I was gonna ask Coach, how do you feel
Yep.
that the NIL
Yeah, I can hear you.
what? How do you feel that the NIL is affecting these players, especially the
Go
top
ahead.
players
Go
going
ahead.
into the NFL?
Well, I mean, some of these guys are staying in college instead of going because they're making so much money, right? I mean, overall, just NIL as a whole, I think it's a good thing. You know, if you're making an organization tons of money, everybody's not going to go to the NFL. I think for me, the mistake was made. The NCAA really made the mistake when all this stuff started happening. They lost the lawsuits and everything. They had a small window to do something to keep the cat in the bag, right? If I was them, I would have made it a situation where when you come to college, you're on a scholarship. Everybody gets some, maybe even like a trust fund or something like that. The money goes in the trust fund, right? And you get access to some of it, but you don't get access to all of it, right? And once you leave, then you get access to all the money, right? But that's not what they did. What they did, all the stuff that was going on that was illegal and under the table before, they made all that legal. So you can't control that, and
No.
it's always going to be one sided because he who has the biggest bag, they got the best team. If you go look over the last few years and look at who won the national title, those are by and large the teams that had spent the most money on their team. So now it's out of control. I do think they need to do something with the transferring. But as far as the money, I think they deserve to get paid, man. If I could have got paid for all the number 20 jerseys that people were buying at Clemson, come on, man.
No, I get it. Especially, yeah, I don't mind the players getting paid for sure. I don't mind that at all. I think they should. I think after the first I think they shouldn't get. I was trying to like think what I said. I think after the first transfer, I think some of these players maybe pay a fee to transfer the second time. I don't know. It's just I actually I don't know about all of that. But I think once you transfer the first time, the second time you transfer, you have to sit out a year. Kind of used to like the only way you were able to transfer beforehand was if you're a graduate graduate whatchamacallit, what was
A grad transfer.
grad transfer, and you're able to play right away. But I think after the first one, I think you get to sit out a year because these guys are just jump from team to teams and try to just get paid. That's what they're trying to do now. I feel like with some of those guys who like
Well, I
especially
kind of, I'll be honest. I don't agree with you on that, but I do think like after your first transfer, if you graduate, you can transfer again. And because then you're doing something like as much emphasis they put on student athlete, right? Okay, so if I want to transfer again, I got to be that student athlete, get my degree. Now I can go where I want to go.
yeah, here's some. So like those guys with the graduates, like the graduate players, I don't mind them transferring being a player, right? But like if you're like a 5 star coming out, right, and you get paid like a bag to go to like Georgia or like Bama or something like that, and you transfer, so you don't play right away. All right, I'm gonna go to like Georgia Tech for like next year and play. And they're like, all right, I'm not playing here, but I got paid even more to come here. But I want to transfer again and go to a third team. I think when you go to the third team, like, all right, like now you're just trying to get the money and not even like really trying
Yeah.
to play. I think
Now,
that's
now
where
that's why I think if you're gonna move to a third team, you need it needs to be for grad transfers. Get your
yes.
degree, and
Yeah.
then if you want to move to the third team, to
Yeah.
me, I think that's fair. Do
Yeah.
your
Something
do your
like if
work, do what you're supposed to do,
yeah.
because you never know how a situation pans out. You know what I mean? A lot of times, again, in my case, my coach got fired after my freshman year, so everything changed. So
For sure. And that's why you've seen a lot of these kids stay for 5 years now. A lot of these kids, unless you're a guaranteed first round pick, maybe second, after that, it's like a lot of these kids are staying back because they know they're going to get paid more for the 1 year being in college than, getting that contract in the NFL. And that's,
listen, it was a guy at Clemson University when I went there. His name was Dorian Marable. Yeah, and you guys have never heard of him, I'm sure. But he was the baddest thing moving on two legs at middle linebacker. Just awesome player, right? But he left his knees at Clemson. Like he was all world everything at Clemson, but when he finished his college career, his knees were gone. So all that NIL he could have got, that's a
oh,
guy that he could have benefited from that. He could have made some money and kind of set himself up for life. Well, I had another teammate. His name was Charlie James. Charlie was one of the baddest running backs I've ever seen in my life. Like 6'2", 230. He was on our track team.
oof.
He ran third leg for us.
Hmm.
Like legit 4'3", 40, just a bad man. Broke his neck. Yeah, broke his neck and came back from it. Was just as good, just as fast, but everybody wanted him, but everybody wanted him to sign something saying that if his neck broke, they wouldn't be responsible for what happened to Charlie. So he didn't do it. So that's another guy like NIL would have helped because he definitely would have been an NIL guy.
Yeah, for sure. I think NIL in that era have been crazy too, for sure. But definitely would have helped you guys financially too. I mean, nowadays
Yeah.
some of these guys are getting $5 million contracts for 1 year. It's insane for getting like these quarterbacks,
Listen,
especially quarterbacks are getting paid
when I was
no
at when
other.
I was at Clemson, I think it was going into my senior year. Most of your football players, they all survive off the Pell Grant. Those that don't have any means coming from home, that's how they survive is off the Pell Grant. You
Yeah,
every semester you get a check cut off your Pell Grant. Well, Clemson was going to take the Pell Grant away, right?
goodness,
Yeah,
it's
and so
insane.
and so I went in and talked to our head coach about you can't do it. Now my situation was different. My family did well. My father had his own business, and I didn't have to worry about anything, right?
Yeah,
But I go in and I'm talking to our head coach. I'm like, hey man, you can't take this Pell Grant away from these guys. What do you want to eat? I was one of the ones that like people were hungry. I'm buying food for folks, right?
hmm
And it wasn't like it is today. You got 3 meals a day. You showed up for whatever breakfast 6 to 9, and then there's nothing else, right? Lunch, dinner, the same. And so you got dudes that's 330 pounds. He's hungry, right? But if he doesn't
yeah,
have any
hungry
money,
for sure.
you just don't eat. So a big. I got into a big knockdown drag out with our head coach, and he looked at me and he told me just to show you how crazy people can be. He looked at me and he said, "Well, you don't have to worry about it. Your daddy can pay for your food." And I said to him, I was like, "Listen, we're not talking about me. We talking about all the rest of these guys that are on this team that need this money, And I remember it was another situation at Clemson, just to show you how crazy that whole NCAA situation can be. His grandmother died. His grandmother had raised him. His grandmother died. He did not live in South Carolina, right? He needed to leave. to go home to be at the funeral. Just at a minimum, he needed to go home to be at the funeral. This is the lady that raised him, right?
100.
Now
Yes,
the
absolutely.
NCAA says it's illegal for the school to do anything to help that kid. You can't do it. Why is that? He's giving you everything he can. You promise his grandmother you're gonna take care of him. She dies. He has no way to get there. He has no money to get there, right? So we made sure that that guy got home so he could go to that funeral. But those are some of the things like when people get to talking about, well, no, they shouldn't get paid and this, that, and the third. Yes, they should.
It's
Absolutely.
because there's some people that come from nothing, and it's just like this. This is like this is their chance to make this money, and sometimes these guys who come up from nothing and make this money, they don't know if they're going to the NFL either. Like this is their chance. College, that's why they're staying for 4 or 5 years and making all this money. And some, like you said too, the kid, with his grandma dying, like like I said, you don't know like what he's going through either at that time as well. It's probably tough times for that kid, and you're telling me that he can't go see his grandma like that raised him. That's insane. I would have threw a fit. I would have, oh my god, I would went crazy if I was able to see my grandma. Like that's just wild.
Well, that situation worked out. I won't say everything that I know about it, but I do know he got home and
Yeah.
he was able to go to that funeral in the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, I'm saying if it didn't work out, I would went crazy. I would went
Yeah,
crazy.
and he probably would
If
have,
I was
and he would
him,
have
if I
had
was
every
him,
right to.
100%. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, back to your training. I think some people don't know, but you train Destroying, the YouTube star. Obviously, he does some other stuff on the side when it comes to his videos. But you trained him because I know he. I don't know how that came along or came upon you, like when it comes to like reach or he. I don't know if he reached out to you. I want to know the whole. I kind of know want the whole story about how that came along.
So that happened. It just happened. Like, to be honest with you, I've never been one to really advertise a lot. What I do, I just word of mouth. So a friend of Destroying's called a friend of mine, and that friend of mine told Destroying, I can't do what you need, but I know somebody that can, and he called me. And so I had no idea who Destroying was or anything
Yeah.
like that. I knew him as dang, what's his real name? Donald. I knew him as Donald. So I had his number. I called him up. We talked, and I talked to him like I talked to everybody else. Man, if you like me and I like you, we can make this work, right? So he came out and trained. And I liked the first time it was like 30, 40 minutes. I just wanted to see him move. I was like, okay, cool, we can do it. So then the next time we trained was when I kind of found out who he was, because the next time we trained in the stadium at
Hmm.
Lakewood Ranch. So the football guys were in there, and some of the cheerleaders or whatnot, all the kids running around from the high school, and everybody's falling out over this guy. And so I go up to him and I said, "Man, who are you? They treating you like you the president. What is going on?" And then he kind of explained to me who he was, and that's when I really understood who Destroying was. So good guy, man. We did a lot of training. I really enjoyed him. I mean, he was the one that really showed me what social media was and getting
Hmm.
online, and he helped me out a lot. Matter of fact, he came up. Now, kids. A lot of kids call me the GOS, the Godfather of Speed. Donald was the one that gave me that name.
Yeah.
That's where the name came from. And then, just it with from he and I doing skits and stuff, I came up with Coach Old School. That happened because of him.
Mhm.
None of that happens without me meeting him. So I'm thankful that I had a chance to meet him. Definitely happy I trained him. Good guy, really good guy.
'Cause he played at UCF. He was a kicker. I don't know
Yep.
if I think you knew that beforehand, but like
hmm
if this is gonna be a funny question. If him and Marshall race, who wins?
Marshall gonna wear him out. I'm telling you, man. Marshall. I still show people Marshall Cosma videos on like his acceleration pattern and stuff like that. Cause that kind of stuff, like I show Marshall a lot, but Marshall came to the table with a lot of stuff just God given. Like when God took the stick out and got to touching people and saying, "You're gonna be an athlete and you're gonna be an athlete," he touched Marshall and was like, "Okay, Marshall Cosma, athlete."
He might
Real
double tap
talk.
him. He might double tap and like bing bing.
Yeah, he could have. I'm telling you, man, Marshall was but what I shouldn't say was. He still could move around a little bit for an old fella. But good athlete, man. Really, really good athlete.
Well,
So yeah, Marshall
let's
would have won
let's
that
get
hands
back
down.
to so
Well,
okay,
hold on,
so you
because I
got so,
remember.
you got the social media going. Okay. I know we were talking lately and I'm doing your current program that you have now. This is the first time you've taken your program to the next level and making it more available to people. So tell us more about the program, kind
For
of
sure.
quick breakdown how it works and how it can benefit athletes around the world.
So what I did was I was looking for a way to reach more people, because as a trainer, you're limited by how many people you can see in a day, a week, a month, so on and so forth, right? And then also too, you can't get sick. If I have a problem where I can't show up for 4 days, then that just is what it is. I don't get paid for 4 days, right? So I'm trying to figure out a way to be able to touch more people, but also expand where I can make money, right? And so I came up with an app, and my company's Athletes Life, and I made this app up. All my speed programs, all my receiver training, all my stretches, everything. It's got a mental component to it. It's got a nutrition component to it, and that's what I did. So if anybody out there is looking for me, Instagram is The Real Athlete's Life, or you can find me at Godfather of Speed, and the links are right there. And the program's off the charts. I mean, so far, I just officially launched. I did a soft launch, which I started maybe a couple weeks ago, and that's more or less me giving it to people I know, saying, "Hey, try this out. Tell me what you think." And it's so weird. Like Marshall called me out of the blue and told me he was looking to work out. I think it's what you told me, right, Marshall? And I said, okay, I got something for you. You call at the right time. And so put Marshall on the program, and he's been doing it. And from what he's been telling me, he likes it a lot. It's working for him. And I mean, it just works. So basically, I designed this program to where you need nothing. You need yourself and a field, and you will get faster, right? So by the time it's done, I want it to be an app where if an athlete needs something, they have a resource they can go to get answers. That's really what I want it to be. You want to know how to catch better, you got a resource. You know how to run faster, you have a resource. That's really the thought behind the app, is to give athletes a resource where they can go ask questions. If you're having problems with your mental game, you got a resource. You're eating too doggone much, you got a resource. So that's what it is.
Yeah, guys, go check it out on his page. We'll definitely tag you for sure. We'll put you in some of these clips as well. So we'll definitely
Okay.
put content out there and tag you and all this stuff. So that would be good stuff.
Yeah.
That's a nice plug-in. That's what's up. I mean, go check it out for sure. But back to Destroying for a second. I know, how is it like with him, like with all the cameras around? You're like, man, what the hell is like all these? You said at first you didn't know what was going on, but like with all the cameras and stuff, you're like, is he like this big, or is he like a big? I don't know. I know
But it was
you were in a video or two with him, correct?
Yeah, man, we did a bunch of videos. We did videos on the street. We did videos in the gym. You name it, we did videos there. And he asked me. He's like, "Listen, I want to film everything. Do you mind?" I was like, "No." And so we started filming, and I was just being me, and we were going back and forth. Marshall, you know how we do. We going back and forth the whole practice. Another one of my mottos: if we're not having fun, I don't want to do it. You know what I mean? I got
Yeah.
to be having fun. I got to like who I'm training. I love laughing. And so he just told me one day, he's like, dude, he's like, you good at this. And that's kind of how he started pushing me toward the online space, because he saw I was good at it. I never even thought about it. I was just like, okay, let's do it. Bring the camera out, man. I got you. And, he would try. Sometimes he'd talk about stuff, and he'd be like, well, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. I was like, nah. I said, don't worry about it. I was like, you throw it. Throw me the ball. I'll hit it back. Don't worry about it. I got it. And so it just worked out. It just worked out. And that's really how it went, man. He just pulled the cameras out, started filming. He'd have his people come out there, and we just go at it. And sometimes I'd show up. It turned into a thing where I show up. Oh, I got an idea. Let's do this, that, and the third. And he'd be like, okay, let's shoot it. And then, of course, he would come in and he'd have ideas. Well, what if we do this? Let's do this, this, this. Okay, let's do it. So it really was a good relationship. It was a lot. It turned into a thing that was a lot of give and take,
Yeah.
And he was, and the thing that was really cool about him is it didn't always have to be about him, right? Like we do stuff that I was the focus, and we do things where he was the focus, obviously.
Mhm.
But he had no problem with someone else being the focus of the video. Like if it made him look crazy, he didn't care. If it made me look crazy, it did, and I didn't care. It didn't matter. This is gonna be funny. This is gonna be good. This is what we trying to get on film. Let's do it. So yeah,
You were right in the Tusla, whatever you call it. I remember.
yeah, the
You were
Tusla.
saying.
Yeah, I remember that one.
That was my favorite videos, actually.
Yeah, I think
It's so good.
Marshall was there too, right? Was Marshall there on that one?
I think Marshall might have been in a few of those. Like Marshall was in a lot of videos, man. A lot of the stuff from the past. Marshall is in for sure. Marshall was funny too. Marshall was good.
What was it? Butter from a duck? What was the other saying you had?
The butter from the duck, man. I still say it to this day. We gonna
Well,
get that butter from
where
the
does
duck.
that originate from? Why do you say that? What
And
does
for
it mean?
everybody that don't understand.
Yeah, that's the next question I was gonna ask you. Where
All
did
right,
that
so
come from?
where that originated from? Actually, that originated from Sean Bain. Sean used to say it, and then I just started saying it, and it just became one of my sayings: "Butter from the duck." And just like everybody asked me, I asked Sean. I was like, "What is butter from the duck?" And it's simple, like if you can get butter from a duck, you're a bad man because a duck doesn't make butter. So if you can get butter from the duck, you're a bad man. It's that
Bad
simple.
man.
All
But I
right.
mean, any
Straightforward.
other sayings you got? I'm trying to think of. I thought you had other sayings, but maybe I'm tripping. But is that the
A
other?
butter from the duck. Everybody eats. What else do I say?
Gots to go.
Yeah, we got to go.
Yes.
We got to
Yeah,
go, man.
I'm dragging ass, dying in the gym. He's like, all right, we got to go. Come on.
Yeah, we got to go.
Mm,
That's it. Rest time over with.
We do what 90 reps of the leg press at like 700 pounds. Like, all right,
yeah, Marshall put
next
me through
set.
that shit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it just absolutely works. And some days,
Oh,
people think that's a
for
lot,
sure.
and it is. But it sets a tone, and it sets. My job as a trainer is to help athletes change what they believe normal is. Like when people sit around, and even at my age now, and like I'm 54, so I'm getting older, but I still can move. And people wonder why. Well, it's because how I've always trained. And so my job is to make people question what normal is. At the end of the day, when you're a high level elite athlete, a lot of the things that you do are never going to seem normal to someone that's not doing it, right? So that's my job is to always challenge athletes on what they believe normal is. Let's just keep making that normal go up and up and up, right? Let's change what it is. And so that's always my goal. Let me change how you think. Let me help you see that you think you're working, but are you really working, right? We want to work hard, but we're going to work smart too.
Now I remember Marshall put me through some of those workouts, and it was killer. But I could tell a difference in like my jumping ability for sure. I was a good athlete, but then when my peak prime was probably like 205, 210. I was jumping out of the gym. I was
Yeah.
dunking up. I was jumping for sure. And that bullshit leg press, I hated that shit. Don't get me wrong. I hated that shit.
Yeah, that
At
that
first
leg
it
press.
sucked. I'm not gonna
I still do it to this day, man. Like I always look at I always look at the program at the end of the year. So like right now, I'm coming to the end of another year, right? I still have a few kids that are still running track. And so but everybody is pretty much coming to the end of the year. So every year I look at it and I look at what was good, what was bad, what could I be better at, what am I gonna keep for sure, what I may throw out. And some years I don't throw anything out, but then there's years where I'm like, okay, yeah, I got a better way to do this, so let's do this way next year, right? So it's always continually growing and getting better and better. Because all this came about, just the training part about it came about when I was in high school. My cousin and I, we sat down and we were like, well, how can we get strong
yeah.
like we on steroids, but never get on steroids, right? And so that was our thing. We started going to the library. Again, it was no YouTube, so we started going to the library, researching, reading everything we could about bodybuilding, and we came up with a workout, right? And it worked for us. And the proof is in the pudding. I did what I did athletically. My cousin's name is Robert Brooks. He was a wide receiver for Green Bay for a number of years. I went to University of South Carolina. So he and I, we came up with that workout together. And the best thing about that was once he went off to the league, I had already went to Clemson. So he took that workout to South Carolina with him. I took it with me to Clemson. And so those years that we were apart, obviously he was changing things he was doing. I was changing things I was doing. And once he was in the league and I was in the league, we came back together again, right? And it was
Right.
so cool because we took everything that he was doing, everything that I was doing, and we put the best parts of it together. And that was one of those years where like everything changed for both of us because he was doing some really good stuff. I was doing some really good stuff, and we were able to put the best of it together. So, yeah, just every year, just be better.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about being consistent and like, especially nowadays. There's no excuse now. I mean, everyone, all these kids have everything now when it comes to like equipment, like all the programs. Like, there's no excuse now. Like back then, like
Yeah.
you were obviously limited to resources. So like, you had to go to the library and read these books and do more research. Nowadays, there's no excuse with
Yeah.
all these
Like,
trainers and all these programs and like the weights and like all the equipment for weightlifting and then the recoveries off the charts too. It's just it's different now. So there's no excuse, I feel like, for these kids nowadays to be better and get better every
listen,
day.
I know when my time I spent over at IMG, I mean those kids at IMG definitely have no excuse. I mean they have everything
No.
available to them. You know,
Yes.
it was nothing that I needed as a coach, as a trainer, that I didn't have access to.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you what was like the difference because you're at Lakewood Ranch right now, correct? Lakewood Ranch High
No,
School.
no, 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 no. I'm on my own. I do my own thing.
Oh, now you're on your
Yeah.
own.
Now I was originally when I first
Yes,
moved here, I was at Lakewood Ranch, and then I
correct.
left and went to IMG.
So yeah, that's the next question I want to ask you. What was the difference at Lakewood Ranch and then compared to IMG when it comes to like just the programs, obviously in general, when it comes to like the track wise?
All right, so at Lakewood Ranch, when I came to Lakewood Ranch, I was used to training year round, right? We have a system and we train year round. So I bought that with me to Lakewood Ranch. So we had a group that was a year round group, and they all went off somewhere D1, Florida State, University of Texas. I mean, we had some really good athletes come through that program. So when I went to IMG, everything that was a struggle. Well, I should say a struggle, but everything where we had to put the pieces together. Like we had
Yeah,
somewhere where we went to lift weights. We had somewhere where we ran on the track. We had somewhere where we went and ran on the grass. Everything that we had to go find, chiropractors and all the recovery stuff that we had somebody to do that for, it was all in one spot. You know, once I got to IMG. So that was the biggest difference. Really didn't have to go anywhere to do anything. Now,
yeah,
was some things like they had a thing at IMG about massages because they didn't want people coming on and touching kids and stuff, right? So you'd have to go somewhere else to get your massages and stuff like that done. But for the most part, the biggest difference was everything was in one place, and you didn't have to go anywhere to look for it. It was right there.
no, the facilities are off the chain. I've seen a bunch of videos there. And it's kind of unreal. And it's not. What is it like? It's expensive to go there. If you're not on a scholarship, it is like what like 75 grand a year to go there.
It's over 100 now. By the time I left, it was over 100 grand if you were paying everything. And I mean it's just like anywhere else though. It has its good parts and it has its bad parts. I mean if everything was wonderful, I'd still be there. You know what I mean? And so it has its good parts and its bad parts. But all in all, I think for the majority of the coaches that are over there are definitely trying to do the right thing. They want to do the right thing, but it's a corporate environment, so everything is not what you want it to be all the
Yeah,
time.
for sure.
I think
And I
the
definitely heard that it's a little strict there in some sense because they don't they stay in dorm rooms there and stuff. So it's kind of
Yeah,
like a college. It's basically a college campus there.
it really is. And one of the best things I think about IMG was the fact that most of the kids when they left, they had already been in basically a college environment because they were on a block schedule. So you either went to school in the morning or you went in the evening. You got out at basically noon, or you either started at noon and got out at like 4 or 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was definitely a college situation. And I remember asking one of my kids, um, he had gone off to college. I said, "What's the biggest? How did IMG help you?" And one of the things he said was like he was ready. He was ready to go to college. He knew what to bring. He had already been through that thing where you got your stuff you bring for college because you're gonna be there all year. He didn't have to worry about that when he actually went to college because he had already been through it at IMG. So
Yeah,
that was so much easier for him.
for sure. Marshall, you were gonna say something.
yeah, I mean, there's so many topics and so many things we could talk about. We'll have plenty of time for future videos and stuff. But I want to ask if you had end the video, one major piece of advice for all the athletes now going forward, what would you give them, considering everything we talked about?
I think like most of your athletes today, they're in love with the thought of being great, but they never stop to think about what great means, right? And what I mean by that is a lot of athletes that I've been around and I've seen, the ones that have been successful are the ones where like being the athlete is your life, right? Everything else gets planned around that. And if it's the other way around where you're trying to figure out how to fit your athletic life into your daily life, you really don't want to be an athlete because that's if it's not fun for you. Like one of the things I always remember coming up was like doing track season, right? Spring break and prom and all that stuff. I always had a track meet, and I never thought I was missing out. I always thought I was the lucky one, right? I mean, if we being honest about it, I mean, think about it. 15, 14, 15, 16, yeah. Going to track meets, all the girls damn near butt naked, right? Well, still, as a young man, where you want to be? I'm just saying. Like I always thought I was the lucky one. Y'all can go do all that you want to do. I'm going to this track meet. And then when once I got to college, track turned into like it was like my place of peace. Because
Hmm.
football is so like intensive and it's always a
Violent.
group. They tell you where to go. They tell you where you got to be, what time you need to be there. And I didn't need to be told that. So it became a lot because it was always you gotta be here, there, you gotta be there, and everybody is getting in trouble because of the few idiots you got on the team that don't do what they're supposed to do. So when I got to go to track, that was like my vacation away where I could just like that was my peace, if that makes sense. But that would be my advice would be understand what you're signing up for. If you say you want to be great, then understand what great is. Because it's okay not to want to be great. You don't have to want to be a professional athlete. I'm okay with that. But don't tell me you want to be a professional athlete, but you're not prepared to really go get it, right? Like
Right.
like especially now in the group of kids that I train, right? You have professional athletes in that group. So if you wanna understand how to do it, just watch them, right? You don't have to believe me. Just watch them. They'll show
Yeah.
you.
For sure. For sure. But yeah, I think we're gonna call it episode. But Coach Larry, appreciate you joining the show. Go follow his social medias here. I put it in the episode. So I appreciate you joining the live or joining the show. We'll have you back on probably soon, if not the next episode. So also Marshall, appreciate you joining the show as well. And you guys anything else to say? Say it now. If not, we'll
I
call the
just go.
show.
I was just gonna tell Marshall I like your hairdo, man.
Yeah, let's see your hair, buddy.
Call you. You said Prince Charm, Prince Charming, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm not gonna roast, but I will say I'm forever grateful for Coach Larry, and hopefully, we'll definitely, be friends for life, and hopefully partners and everything, whatever business endeavor that is.
For sure, man. For sure.
Hopefully be a
I
We,
part
feel the
of it.
same way. I
Yeah.
appreciate
we
you,
might get you a
Marshall.
hat. We might get you a hat so you can wear it potentially.
Please do. I wear it. I'm a hat guy. I still got hair though. Just in case you thought I was bald, Marshall, it's still there. That is not. Hey, that is not spray paint right there, baby. That's 100% God given. I don't play around in the barbershop.
Got that LeBron James hairline. Okay, anyway.
But yeah,
Whatever. Whatever.
we'll work on a hat for sure. We'll work on a hat
Yeah,
for sure to get
Coach,
you
if
to
you still
wear.
have any of the athlete's life stuff, we'll wear that too for some of that.
I got you. Done deal.
All right. Well, I appreciate you, Coach Larry. We'll probably get this episode out probably like tomorrow or something. But I'll send you some of the clips and see what you think too.
Okay.
But also too, guys, hit the subscribe button, I like the video, leave a comment too. But yeah, I appreciate you, Coach Larry, again, and we will see you guys next episode.
All right, fellas.